constantly buying food, clothes, cars, plane tickets, you name it. The internet has only bolstered this trend. Human consumption is at its highest ever. But what we often forget is that this indiscriminate consumption has a huge impact on the environment we live in. Is there a possibility to strike a balance and make consumption sustainable? We'll explore that over the next 30 minutes. Hello and welcome. This is Eco India and I'm Sanuta Raghu. Fuel is a basic need today. We need energy for cooking, lighting our homes, watching TV, charging our mobile phones, among so many other things. We have little influence over how energy is produced, but we can try to be mindful about how much of it we're using. It's a win-win for climate change as well as the household budget. Women in a low-income community in the city of Ahmedabad recognize this and are now the drivers of change.
Krishnaben Yadav is on her regular morning rounds through low-income settlements in Bhilwas, north of Ahmedabad.
I'm from Mahila Seva Trust. I'd like a few moments of your time. May I come in?
She is on a mission to talk to as many residents as she can about what she now knows about running a household more efficiently. When she started making her personal visits, things were quite different around here.
In those days, around 10 of the 216 houses in this neighborhood had metered electricity connections. Each of these houses was sharing electricity with at least 10 other houses. And we were not so well informed. We would put up a 100-watt bulb even in the toilet because it costed just 10 rupees. But the bulbs did not come with any guarantee. It would soon stop working and we would go and buy another one for 10 rupees.
Krishnaben took it upon herself to learn what could be done better. She now works with a local organization that trained her how to conduct full-scale energy audits to help enable other marginalized women make their households as efficient as possible. In 2016, India became the third largest consumer of electricity in the world behind the US and China. The lack of access to information, specifically about the effects of overconsumption, is a contributing factor to this jarring statistic.
People didn't realize why their environment was changing. They thought that the effects of climate change were actually acts of God. When I asked them if they felt this hot 10 years ago though, they'd say no. So I would then ask further, why has it become so hot now?
Krishnaben explains wattage, efficient lights, and the effects of energy waste in simple terms. A survey showed that since 2010, the percentage of women here who attributed rising temperatures and poor living conditions to natural changes or unexplained phenomena fell from 26% to 9%. Shobnaben Patel is one of Krishnaben's converts. Her family of 5 used to receive a monthly electricity bill of 5,000 rupees or around 63 euros. That's a sixth of their total income. Since the audit, Shobnaben has switched to 7-watt LED bulbs, a 26-watt tube light, and a 1-watt ceiling fan regulator, bringing down her bill to 2,000 rupees or 25 euros. Apart from audits, Krishnaben encourages families in the neighborhood to install a variety of green energy products like sustainable modular roofs and natural ventilators. Another who has benefited from Krishnaben's advice is Meenaben Kori, a tailor who worked in the sweltering heat inside her home in Ahmedabad's furnace-like heat for years.
We used to feel extremely hot, and I was restless all the time as a result. I just couldn't stay indoors. I used to run outside to get some air. The white paint has brought peace into my life. Now when I switch on the fan, it doesn't feel that hot.
शांति हो गई है.
Painting the roof white was a suggestion made by Krishna Ben. The bright paint reflects up to 90% of the sunlight that would otherwise be trapped as heat. It's had a positive effect on the electricity bill too.
લાઇટ બિલ પણ ઓછું આવે.
24 કલાક તમે પંખા ચાલુ રાખો તો શું થાય?
Shobna Ben and Meena Ben's families are among the 31,000 households who have made changes to their homes to improve energy efficiency since 2010. In total, they save close to 5 crore rupees a year. That's almost 630,000 euros. One of the biggest changes, though, has been in the role of women in the community. Almost 80% of newly installed electric meters are in the name of the women of the house, which is often the first legal document some of the women have ever received.
I used to depend on my husband for money to run the household. But now, I have become financially independent and live off my own earnings. I can decide myself when and how much to spend. I no longer have to worry or depend on anyone.
The women of Bhilwas are impressive drivers of change in their own lives as well as in their community.
Sustainable consumption sounds difficult, but it isn't. We often have the opportunity to consume sustainably. Informing yourself about better alternatives and then looking for them in your supermarket aisle could be a good start. Here are a few good ideas to help you with that.
Worldwide CO2 emissions reached new heights in 2019. Over 40 billion tons of carbon dioxide were released into the air. Transportation accounts for around 1/4 of the emissions. Biking instead of driving, by train instead of by plane, these are ways for everyone to reduce CO2 emissions. A 1,000-kilometre journey by train releases 36 kilos of CO2. The same distance by plane releases almost 6 times that amount. Most energy is produced by burning fossil fuels, and every year more energy is needed. The prognosis is that the world will need 50% more energy by the year 2050. That means more air conditioners, lighting, and computers for a growing world population. By using moderate temperature settings and energy-saving technology, everyone can reduce their carbon footprint. Rainforests absorb lots of climate-damaging CO2. Every second, an area the size of a football pitch is cut down. By cutting down trees and using slash-and-burn farming, room is made for food production. Not just livestock, but also the feed those animals need, like soy and corn. Buying plant-based products in the supermarket is more environmentally friendly because they need less land and less resources than meat products do. That means more of the forest can be left to store CO2.
Waste is a huge consequence of our consumption, but waste doesn't have to be a problem. An environmental engineer and a citizen activist in Bangalore have come together to show us how. Their neighborhood biogas plant provides a model for a symbiotic connection between waste disposal, energy production, and excessive consumption.
In the heart of Bangalore, garbage is festering everywhere. This neighborhood is literally drowning in it. Illegal dumping sites are more than just an eyesore. Residents complain of a foul odor all day long. Several cases of dengue have been reported in the area. Bangalore municipality has hired so-called marshals to crack down on those littering or dumping trash. The marshal makes the offender pick up the bag he just threw away.
This guy is throwing his waste here. He hasn't separated it. This isn't a dumping ground. The garbage truck went to his house, but he missed it because he woke up too late. He has to be fined.
It's 200 rupees, just under €3, for dumping household trash. the city's infrastructure is failing to cope with the unchecked development and growth. Once known as the Garden City, Bangalore now has a new nickname, Garbage City. Some have had enough. Every morning, Padma Shri Balram inspects the trash pickup in her neighborhood of Koramangala. Residents are meant to put their kitchen waste in a green bin without liners. It's then dumped directly into the truck. The chemistry teacher takes it upon herself to educate residents.
ನ್ಯೂಸ್‌ಪೇಪರ್ ಕೂಡ ಅಲೌ ಮಾಡಬೇಡಿ. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಇಂಕ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಅದು ಇಂಕ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಭೂಮಿ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. ನೋ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಪೇಪರ್.
We can't put plastic in the wet way.
Yeah.
So that is the only problem I am facing.
Okay.
If we can, I line it with paper, newspaper.
But you should not, because it has ink, it has lead, so you should not. It's very dangerous to have ink, which is because it will compost along with your food, and then we will eat the same vegetables.
Not everyone follows the rules. Here, all the trash has gone into one bin.
It boils my blood, really, because the amount of effort we have put in, and it's not rocket science. It's just separate it. I mean, how hard is that?
Entrepreneur Som Narayan encounters new dumping sites daily.
There you go. There's another spot there. There's been organizations who work on clearing those sites, painting them up, making it clean, but then again it reappears after 15 days.
The environmental engineer has come up with his own solution to reduce the city's waste. He's joined forces with Padma Shri Balram to set up a biogas facility. The organic waste from Padma Shri Balram's neighborhood, which would normally go to a landfill, is instead brought here as a raw material. The trash has to come in well sorted. Otherwise, it means higher operational costs and less biogas. Today, her efforts pay off.
50% is good, okay.
Now this is nearly 100%, right? There is about 5-10% that needs to be stripped out, like the flowers and all that, which has very high lignin content. But I would rate this extremely good. I mean, this is now good enough for biogas.
The facility processes about 600 kilograms of local kitchen waste a day, turning it into slurry. The actual plant is further away, built in refurbished shipping containers on land provided by the local authorities. There's also a business model. The raw biogas is purified here and then stored in a tank. The resulting gas, brand named Carbon Lights, is sold.
What we are producing as an end product here is about 92 to 94% of methane, which means it's much better than natural gas. It can displace any fossil fuel, be it LPG, petrol or diesel. So at the end of the day, we're creating a clean, renewable energy right here in Koramangala.
The biggest buyer is a neighboring restaurant. The gas is piped in from just 200 meters away. The restaurant is hugely popular. The kitchen uses about 70 kilograms of biogas a day, which is also cheaper than conventional cooking gas. There are no official dumps within the city anymore for the 5,000 tons of garbage Bangalore generates every single day. But even designated landfills like this one are a major hazard.
Landfill attracts flies, rodents, causes diseases, causes groundwater pollution, creates leachate, again, which is entering into your groundwater, damaging your groundwater source, creating methane that's, again, adding to your GHG emissions.
Som Narayan has scaled up his operations to help keep more waste out of landfills and make his business viable. About 13 tons of food waste arrive at this plant north of Bangalore every day from IT parks and corporate campuses. About 17 jobs have been created here at the biogas plant. Unlike the facility in the city, it also compresses the gas. It's then bottled into cylinders that can be shipped to customers across Bangalore.
Our ultimate dream is to have this across India, with entrepreneurs coming into this business, running their own micro units. It's a win-win for the country, as well as creating more jobs and creating energy security.
Som Narayan has already expanded into 2 more states. He plans to continue growing. The waste-to-fuel business model could be a viable way for far more Indian cities to clean up their act.
When it comes to food, what does sustainable consumption actually mean? Yes, it would be good to buy locally produced food, and it might be necessary to eat less meat. A German company known for their vegan fruit gums and licorice is supporting startups to come up with tasty and sustainable food alternatives.
German candy manufacturer Katjes has started a venture capital fund in downtown Berlin. The family-owned firm hopes Katjes green food will encourage hip, sustainable nutrition trends and make money at the same time.
Pureed acai, pureed mango, coconut milk, pureed banana, agave syrup, lemon juice, acerola powder, cold pressed, not pasteurized by heating. The innovation in this sector is the pressure. And so, here's the world's first ready-to-eat acai bowl.
The manager of the fund, who's been a vegetarian since childhood, funds food projects that she believes are forward-looking and environmentally friendly. Bacon chips without pork or hemp bars. And she's prepared to invest between 200,000 and 2 million euros in them.
It may sound banal, but especially for investors from the tech side, the taste has to be top class. In the food sector, if the taste isn't great, you won't get customers coming back for more. Sometimes we get companies with great ideas that take plant-based issues or meat alternatives seriously, but then the product doesn't taste good.
It's a growing market. Sales of vegan and vegetarian products are rising significantly in Germany. In 2018, the market was worth over 1.2 billion euros. Katjes Green Food has so far invested in 8 startups. Among the firms they've invested in is the porridge maker Haferkata.
We actually came across Haferkata by accident. They had a pop-up store in the main train station, and I walked past it on a Sunday and tried it and found the taste fantastic. I got talking to the founders and learned about their concept. We ended up investing because it was the first healthy breakfast to go on the market.
In 2014, Anna Schubert opened Berlin's first porridge bar with 2 friends. They wanted to offer something different from the bakery chains.
It's always easier to sell something with meat. A breakfast croissant with ham will sell. People want that, but there are enough existing concepts that offer it already. We don't have to.
40,000 portions of porridge cross Haferkata's counters every month. Oats, fruit, and nuts are challenging meat's dominance.
When we started, we renovated a small kebab shop. We scraped all the fat off the walls and said, let's start our porridge business. After a few months, we took part in an accelerator program run by German Rail. They were looking for startups to make train stations more appealing. It was mostly tech firms with a few food companies. We were one of them, and they were impressed by our porridge.
Their concept is simple. Take the oats that have been in Europe for centuries and add different toppings and fruits. When Anna Schubert and her co-founders were given the cash injection from Katjes Green Food, they made the leap to become a chain.
We're mainly a takeaway business. Sustainability and packaging is a bit of a contradiction, although you could bring your own container and get it filled. But these questions keep coming up, and we try to find the right answers and keep on growing.
Vegan food is now a trend in German cities. This shows where most vegan foodstuffs are being rolled out. 15% of global market launches take place in Germany, closely followed by the United Kingdom and the United States. In Spain and France, it's only 4%. So, a market for wealthy countries. But there's more to it.
I wish there was wider awareness of the relationship between nutrition and the environment. That's such an important point, and we need to become more aware of it. I believe we're just at the beginning, especially in Germany. In the United States, people are already 2 years further along in terms of consciousness.
Germany may be catching up fast, but for the time being, sustainable food trends remain a niche market for young and well-heeled urban foodies.
We all love buying new clothes. But does sustainable consumption mean we need to stop doing that? Well, not really. A company in Delhi has found a way to make chic clothes out of the tons of textile production waste India produces every day. Let's see how.
At this clothing design studio in southwest Delhi, fabric waste is seen as a valuable resource. The philosophy is simple: we don't need more new clothes. That challenges the current fast fashion business model, something this label does with pride.
The problem in the fashion industry starts from the fact that it's based on a linear fashion model. So today, about 73% of garment wastages go into landfills because there is lack of ways of reusing the fabrics and the garments that we are currently working with.
It was this realization that led Kriti Tula and Doodle Age's two other founders to address the problem of textile waste in India and set up a design label committed to making fashionable clothing pieces from textile waste or upcycling discarded items. It's a concept that has been gaining in popularity in the textile industry all over India as awareness rises.
There's always a garment that comes out of a rectangular piece of fabric. Then at cutting processes, there's a lot of wastages that happen. So I could observe that on both a small scale unit or a large scale unit. There is so much that has been produced and that exists. It's about time that we start thinking about using what is already there.
Garment waste is not the only problem in India. The textile industry is a major polluter. In India, the third biggest after plastic and paper.
For India, it's not just the garment waste that we have to be concerned about, it's the production waste that we have to be concerned about. We're still one of the largest exporters of both fabrics and garments in the world. So all of the wastages that we're converting at that level is still something that we're not being able to deal with at the amount that we're producing garments at.
The environmental implications are worrying, and the situation is only getting worse by the day due to the surging demand for products, use of chemicals, the need for landfill space, energy, and water consumption.
In 2015 alone, the entire fashion industry used up about 79 billion metric cubes of water. So that's huge. And a single t-shirt takes up about 2,720 liters of water, which is as much as most adults would drink in 3 years. And that is a single t-shirt. Then of course there are toxics that are leached in the production process itself, which then impacts the communities around which factories come up.
Doodle Age's founders used personal funds to set up their company in 2012. Now they have nearly 20 employees. The seeds of inspiration are sown while the fabric waste is being sorted.
Once all of this fabric comes into the studio, we start thinking about what kind of designs can bring all of them together. We start fixing the fabrics in itself so that they can actually be used further to create the clothes that we work with.
That's not all. They also produce bags and other items, and the scraps from their own production go into making other new products as well. In India, Doodle Age is considered a somewhat expensive brand, with garments costing between 50 to 100 euros.
You've got me really kind of feeling. Presenting Doodle Age.
Since it first set up shop, Doodle Age has shown a collection every year at the Lakme Fashion Week.
Don't turn it off. Don't turn it off, you don't, I like it.
The label's products are already available in 30 stores in India and also through some e-stores. But Kriti Tula thinks there's still a long way to go.
Now, on a fundamental level, sustainable consumption means being mindful of our relationship with our environment and choosing to preserve that with respect. I hope you will give some thought to that. We'll be back next week with yet another thought-provoking episode. From our entire team in India and Germany, thank you very much for watching.